King of TV Bowling, brought to you by Pepsi. Nothing else is a Pepsi. Jeff Weiler's Eastgate Auto Mall, where over 1,000 cars, trucks, and vans are cheaper in the country. And by Miller Lite. When you've got the great taste of Miller Lite, life is good.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to BPA King of Bowling. This is week number 11. It's a very special week for me because we're coming to you from Glenmore Bowl. That's in Cheviot on the west side of Cincinnati. A very special show from a very special establishment. Glenmore Bowl is very exemplary of the type of houses that existed all over the country in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. But now it's 1996, and we've got a show to bring to you. To tell you about it, Jennifer Kleekamp.
Thanks, David. You are 100% correct. This is a fine family-owned and operated establishment. You're going to see the head honcho over here to my left, Les Horseman. We're going to get started this morning with the 189 and under division, so stay tuned, everybody.
Good morning, everybody. Match number 1, week number 11, finds Wally Studer and Chris Luebbe going at it. Jennifer, good morning.
Good morning to you, Dave, and good morning to all of you at home. Chris Luebbe in his debut on King of TV Bowling.
Looked awfully nervous as he was warming up before.
Wow, he really gets some juice on the ball, throwing the 5 behind the 7. Oh, no, but what a great opening shot. Glenmore Bowl. This is a wonderful establishment, and the people here are so friendly and nice. During the qualifier, always getting some goods. They have a gentleman here that cooks up some fine food in the back, the little makeshift kitchen.
That's right. Throw a steak on the Barbie. He can do it for you.
I'm telling you, it is a wonderful place just to come out and pop down some Millers or some Pepsis and have a sandwich.
Absolutely. It gives
Right here.
Here's
Right
that
here in
hometown
Cheviot.
feel, Jen.
Yeah.
It's, as I talked about it in the open, a 10-lane establishment, something that you really don't see too much of anymore because the economics has really run a lot of these family-owned businesses out. But in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and even 60s, all across this great country of ours, the 8, 10, 12, and 14-lane houses, those were the things that you went on your evening bowling tour.
Wally Studer going after the 4-pin. Just pulled it off. Sometimes something like that can actually get you relaxed, however.
Well, I saw that in practice too, Jen, that the players were not picking up the fact that going across the lane, things were starting to hook. Wally Studer, age 49, averaging 185, qualified with a 645, and this is his first TV appearance, but he has marked up the honor award score of 300.
The ultimate. Throwing a burgundy hammer.
That's
Right down the
wide.
10th board. Leaving the 2-4-5.
Well, the 2-4-5 shouldn't be a problem, but again, if you haven't mastered going across the lane with your spare ball, then you really need to move to the left, folks, kind of straddle the spare, and then just go right straight down at it.
Here's an impressive figure for Wally Studer. He's been married 20 years to Peggy. Congratulations, that's incredible.
That's fantastic. Kudos to you, Wally.
And Peggy.
And Peggy. And we're going to see Chris come up now on the right-hand lane. We are bowling on lanes 3 and 4. Now, for those of you that have been watching the King of Bowling for years and years, typically we're on 5 and 6. But we had to move this year because of camera placements, and as the show grows, so does the room that we need to bring all this equipment in and get it done.
Chris Luebbe leaving another bad break, this time going after the 9-pin. Only 23 years old from the Western Hills area, averaging 184, and he also had a 645 to qualify, and he has the 277. Good-looking kid.
Bring it back. Bring it back.
Well, we're going to tighten up the match here very quickly. Both gentlemen with an open.
Jen, I want to give the folks at home a little tip that at least helped me through the years. When you go into an establishment, you're going to bowl a tournament or a TV show, whatever, I always found it extremely helpful to take one of my shadow balls and throw cross lane from right to left, another of those shadow balls throw cross lane from left to right. That way I knew it was on the lane, and it just looks like the players weren't too sure of the condition, as he registers a great strike there.
Boy, he really threw an excellent shot, executed, had good rotation on the ball. And you are right, Dave, that is a great tip. Definitely utilize one of your practice shots going across the lanes.
Wally Studer, right-hand lane, yes. Oh, an absolute great shot, solid 9. Show it to me.
We'd love to thank Les Horseman, of course, as we said on the opening, the fine proprietor here, who's been very gracious throughout the qualifying and, of course, this morning here at Glenmore.
Let's take a look. What leaves the 9-pin? Keep your eyes in the center of the screen. The head pin right there goes to the back. The ball actually breaks through too sharply there, missing the 9. Typically, the ball is supposed to take out the 9-pin. Too much ball, huh?
It appears to me that Wally's, in using that burgundy hammer, it's a urethane ball, you're going to get a little bit more consistent reaction than Chris, who's throwing, I believe, some type of resin ball, code red, I believe. So Chris is going to get actually better carry power, but Wally's going to be able to stay around the pocket a little better.
Wally Studer from the Blue Ash area has lived there all of his life, he tells me. Bowls out at the Crossgate lanes, one of the betting houses. And he registers his strike on the left-hand lane. Looking good there. Now, what takes out the 9-pin? Watch the ball go through. Very slowly, very slowly. Now, watch the ball. Okay, it would have taken the 9 out, but it had a little helper. That was the 3-pin taking it out first.
Wow. Well, I said it about the resin ball. In
Yes,
this case, it's just hitting too hard. It's just a little bit too aggressive. But with the latter part of the game coming up, I believe Chris can get all lined up into that pocket. I really think he needs to opt for a little bit lighter of a shot as opposed to trying to fill up the pocket. He'll get a little better carry by going light. He can maybe get those pins to shake out as opposed to trying to pack them out.
Well, that's a good point, Jen. Everybody always wants to go with the equipment that's just going to rip the back of the building out. Well, that's okay. You see the hook, you see the power, but you're also going to leave pins, and a lot of players are very slow to put that ball down.
We're exactly tied. Wally, however, does have the strike advantage in the 4th. Chris Luebbe been in the pocket every single shot, but cannot seem to carry yet.
There you go. Oh, too wide for the 10-pin.
Years ago, Glenmore Bowl did have the above the lane ball returns, which used to be a problem with the 10-pin. Look at this shot, just going a little bit light, gets the 5 out good. Everything on the left-hand side is gone. Almost took out our camera down there, Dave.
Yes, please. Where's that insurance policy? Make sure we're paid up. Well,
so an open frame for Chris Luebbe. We're going to see how Wally Studer can handle that. Of course, has the strike, working on one. Make it a double here.
Pulls it right through. Jen, your tip with changing equipment is so right now. These two players are, you know what? I'll bet you, Miller, that these are the balls that they qualified with. And they're here today. They do not want to put that equipment away, and they should. I
agree. Sometimes it is very hard to get that ball out of your hand when you feel so comfortable and you've scored well with it.
Now let's see if he can keep the spares coming back, and he does, but again, to the left of the spare. Even when you're shooting your spares, folks, notice what's going on as the ball travels down the lane. There's a wealth of information when the ball leaves your hand, and you're going to score better if you listen to the ball and the lanes tell you what to do. 10-lane house. You would think that there's no way, but I tell you what, you get to know the people you're with. Wally's leading by 12 pins at this point. Crossing over, and he leaves the 5-9, and again crossing over, going to the left of the spare. All these are signals. The ball is telling you something. Listen. That's tough to do when you have all the distractions of television.
I do think that he just needs to get a little more extension and trust the ball. He's just not trusting it at this point. And of course, he left the 2-4-5 earlier in the match in lane 3. That will scare you away from the pocket a little bit. You always try to help it into the pocket. Don't do that.
There you are. He uses his regular release, doesn't work, but we're going to do a little work right now. Our sponsors are waiting in the wings to tell you a lot of information. Stay tuned. We'll be back with the conclusion of match number 1.
Hi, I'd like to talk to you today about our good friends at Howe Manufacturing. You've been seeing their fine shirts each and every week here on the King of TV Bowling. Well, now with softball and baseball coming up, you can find all your needs at Howe's with professional lettering and uniform service. They're located on Spring Grove Avenue, and their phone number is 541-2505.
We're going to be back with the last half of Game 1 in just a couple of minutes, Jen. And we've been bowling here for 11 weeks. One more week is the finals, and then we're done.
It has been a really great year this year. I've had more fun than ever. I think the show has come across as a quality product this year, thanks to you and New Productions.
Thank you.
And all of our fine camera people, and et cetera, et cetera. Watch this shot. This cranker.
This is a cranker, and the 1-3 pocket is filled up. Every pin is knocked to the back of the building. In the pit, every pin doing its job, and now maybe we're going to get things rolling. Maybe that commercial break is just what the bowlers needed. Oh, yeah, another good one.
Oh, solid 10-pin.
Ooh.
Ouch. Critical frame, too, to get a double started, to really get him going in the last part of the game.
That would have been instrumental in getting back in it, but the open frame, yeah, the open frame by Wally in the 6th frame puts him right back in it anyway.
Ooh, that could have made the 7-10, David.
That's
I mean,
right.
Unfortunately for him, he didn't leave it.
Not only did he knock it down, he knocked it out of the building.
Sure did.
Well, that makes it a 1-pin match. Wally Studer steps up to the line, trailing by 1 at this
See if he
point.
can trust it. Nope, again, he did not trust it.
Ball's hooking the minute it leaves his hand, and he's pulling it. So we...
It's a combo deal.
It's 2 negatives, and in this game it doesn't equal a positive.
That's for sure. Now he's really going to need to trust the ball to get this spare converted right here, because he's going to have to get it into the 1-3 pocket area.
This is a tough one, a very tough spare, and especially when you're not comfortable with the lanes. Look out. Not to be. Wally's in big trouble, and at this point, folks, if you ever find yourself here, you haven't really hit the pocket, but one time the whole match, put the ball away.
Or do a dramatic change.
Or something, that's right. But from what I've seen the ball going across the boards, I don't think there's any place he can find where it's going to skid long enough. Trails by 13, and the advantage is definitely with Chris Luebbe right now.
That was a better shot. At least he got into the area he needed to get into. This time leaving the bucket. So it looks like he's just kind of in between, Dave. You're right. He may need an equipment change.
Absolutely. If you kill the ball so much to get it to the right, it's not going to move, it's not going to hit, and you leave the bucket. 2, 4, 5, and the 8. Let's see if he can bring it back.
Looks good. Wow.
And the problems continue to mount, and if you go back and look at the tape, folks, every one of the problems is because the ball is hooking too much. Chris can actually start to put a world of hurt on Wally at this time, and
Some days you just can't carry, Dave.
what a great shot that was. Solid 7. You don't see him too often, but what leaves a solid 7? Well, it's a little bugger over there on the left-hand side of your screen called the 4-pin. He doesn't do his job, and the 5-pin doesn't do his job, and you wind up shooting a spare when you should have had a strike.
Great spare conversion right on line for Chris Luebbe. Brought along his girlfriend this morning, Renee Avery. Chris is actually from Sarasota, Florida originally. Well, actually, he was born in Cincinnati, then he moved to Flint, then he moved back in August, And then I don't know.
You got the travel
Pretty
plan.
confusing.
Let's check those travel plans out, right? Chris Luebbe stepping to the line with a 23-pin lead going into the all-important 9th frame. A strike here would be extremely important. Almost catches it off the wall.
Last year, Chris won the Style Master 300 Classic down in the Tampa Bay area for a cool $1,200.
Nothing wrong with that as we watch him go to the line. Now, this is a little light, but watch the head pin, center your screen. It's going to go to the left-hand wall and come off. I guess we're not going to see it.
There it is.
But the pin action is there, but it just didn't quite get it, but the spare just snuck in there. Now, Wally Studer is up on the right-hand lane. He has got to strike. There you see his score, 112 in the 8th. Not the kind of game that we were hoping to see, but Wally gets moving right now. Yes.
Wally can actually still get 172 if he strikes all the way out in the 10th, which will force Chris to mark.
That's correct. But he needs to get the next 2 in order to do that.
Jimmy Jones Sr. and Chad Rodersheimer, 2 Western Hills guys, standing in the background there. We also have Bob Schmidlin and Cliff Ott from Miller, and just a bunch of people out here, really important people.
Yeah, well, the west side of town brings them out, and they all wanted to come in and squeeze into Glenmore Bowl and get cozy with everybody.
Can you believe it, Dave?
He's going to make a show out of it. I don't know what he changed or what he did. We'll have to talk to him later. But now all of a sudden, crush. Takes that 22-pin lead and just balls it up and throws it away. It's a 2-pin deficit now, basically, for Wally Studer. Chris will still have his fate in his own hands to decide. Let's see if he can do it again. Going wide, leaving the 1, the 2, and the 8.
Light on lane 3 has been his nemesis, and then going high on lane 4 has counteracted it.
Well, with any kind of a pin count in the on the first ball in the 10th, Chris Luebbe will win this match. We'll see if he can not hit his ankle and everything. He's going to need a total of 8 pins on 2 shots to win, Jen. Let's see if he can do that with the first delivery. Well, that does it. We've got a winner in match number 1. Chris Luebbe defeats Wally Studer in game number 1. Stay with us. We'll be back for conclusion and match number 2 after these words.